What is going on, all my video game movie maniacs out there? It's your boy Preston, PhatSamuraiGuy, back again with another Movie Dojo podcast episode, and it's epic today. That's right, because we are talking about when action movies become video games. That's right, that's the topic of today, and the reason why we're bringing it up, we're going to get to it in a second here, but it was a nice, fun, awesome idea that my brother from another mother, director James Couche, brought up to me. He hit me up. I was like, ooh, let's do that. So we're going to have some fun talking action movies and video games and all that good stuff. But we're talking video games. I can't do it without the radical one here. So we got Radical Reggie. Welcome back to the channel, brother.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. And James, of course, this is your second home, man. Welcome back.
Awesome to be back, man.
Oh, yeah. And we're just going to go ahead and jump right into this. We have a big, huge plethora of titles to talk about. And I'm glad Reggie's here because some of my memory is like fuzzy because I haven't played these games in 5 billion years. But Reggie and James, they're probably like, oh, yeah, we know that game. That game sucked. Oh, yeah. No, that game was legit. So I'm glad I have these two awesome gents here with me today. But before we go down the list and we get into it here, let's play a little trailer here of my man's upcoming video game based off of his award-winning indie action film, Lost Phoenix. That's right. The film is legit. That's right. I said it. Let's check out the game right here. Here we go. Yes. Had to show that trailer, man. I'm really excited to play the game. Yeah. And Reggie, this is something new. James is a trendsetter. I think in the history of all entertainment, movies, and video games media related projects, this has never been done in the history. This has never been done. This is the first time where the director who creates this amazing, fun 80s, 90s action Hong Kong movie throwback indie flick, The Lost Phoenix, which you can watch on Tubi and Amazon Prime right now. The director creates an indie flick, and then the director creates a video game by himself based off of his film. I don't think this has ever been done. So, James, how did you come up with this idea to make a video game based off your movie? This is wild.
I will say, I didn't do it entirely by myself, but I'll get to that later. But even when I was making this movie, I thought, wouldn't it be really cool to make a video game based on like a platformer or like a beat 'em up or something? Because you don't see that. Hollywood doesn't really they don't do video games anymore based on movies. Like they used to do it a lot. Then it was all mobile games, and now it's nothing. So as I'm like wrapping up the film and going into post-production, I'm like, okay, maybe this could happen, but what would it be? So I start looking into like Unity and Unreal and Game Maker, and then I discovered this thing called GB Studio, which allows you it's a software that allows you to make Game Boy and Game Boy Color games that will run on real hardware. So, that's awesome. I'm finishing up the movie. Every so often I'll take a break, go tinker with pixel art or engines design. The movie comes out, focus more on the game, and I quickly realize I'm not very good at game making. It sucks. And I kind of realized okay, I could maybe make a good game, but I'd have to put everything else on the shelf. I could not do no more movies, none of that. Just make a game based on the movie I made. And I was feeling pretty down. Just for laughs, I went on to Fiverr and typed in GB Studio, and a couple names popped up. And so, fixed on this one dude named called Elvies. I played a couple of his games actually. He's really good. And so I reach out just out of curiosity, hey, what's the process look like? What if I decided to do this? What would it be? And before I knew it, we're suddenly making a game together. And it's well, that happened. Didn't even sink until the next day. But yeah, basically. I had to draw up a design sheet, like how the game's supposed to function, how the lives work, the level, the level layouts, the characters. I send in pictures of the actors in the movie. Like here's what the characters are supposed to look like. A day later, I get back this sprite sheet, and all my actors are in 8-bit, which was just awesome. It's just really awesome to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, for about the next couple of weeks, we just were back and forth, like trading like information, trading builds. I'd get a build, I'd test it, feedback. I became the play tester, the director, the producer. I adapted the story to make it work better as a game.
Right.
And by the end, it's just, I hired a GB Studio musician, and so was sending him like music clips from the movie. Like, can you convert this into Game Boy music? And so working with him there to get that done.
Wait, that's in the game? Like 8-bit version of the actual
chiptunes? Wow.
That's awesome. So the music from the movie has been adapted. It's in the game.
Wow. This is amazing, dude.
Yeah, I wanted it to be really authentic, because I remember playing like the licensed games, and the ones for whatever reason I really liked, especially were the ones that had the music. You know, if you got the music, like if you give me like a Batman game that has like the most generic sounding action music versus give me like or give me one that has like the Joel Schumacher Batman theme.
Right.
And it's this might be a terrible game, but at the very least it's authentic, you know?
Right.
But yeah, it came out last week. It is available now on itch.io. My recommendation, play it through an emulator with a controller. You can play with a keyboard, but why do you hate yourself? And yeah, it's been awesome. And honestly, it makes me want to do this for every movie.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So all my movies going forward now is like, because I didn't start working on the game really until after the movie was done. Whereas I'm going to try to be like, well, I'm in pre-production right now on a movie, and I've started to like write design sheets for potential video games.
Nice. Dude, this is awesome. Yeah. Go ahead, Reggie.
Quick question. So do you think you guys will ever do a physical release for the game?
I've thought about it. I really have. I don't know. There would have to be some demand for it. But yeah, like I could print these out on Game Boy cards. The downside is this. To do this is not super cheap, and then you have to sell it for even more. So are you really going to drop $60 on a Game Boy game when you could drop that 60 on a brand new game? There's like 5 brand new games on sale.
Yeah, there's a pretty strong Game Boy community out there for the homebrew, man. So I think, it might work.
I wish they had kind of like that, almost like a Blu-ray on demand type situation where they just like order it. You could like do it on demand. But yeah, like I want to have like physical cartridges made, just because I want to have one, but also to kind of give them to like people involved in the film. And maybe have them be like crowdfunding rewards later on. But
copy that.
I haven't had a chance to play this on Game Boy Color hardware, but I have played it on a Mii U Mini, and playing a portable definitely like works really nicely in a portable system.
Nice.
Just it looks great on the laptop, but it just feels like it was meant for portable.
Copy that. Well, hey, you never say never. He might. You never know. He may do it. Yeah. So that was a great question.
I mean, I was the crazy guy who was like, I'm gonna turn my movie into a video game. I made an action movie during the pandemic on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
And then like the thing is, this has never happened. And the way I know that is every time I tell people, like everybody thinks it's really cool, but first they have to get over that hump of, wait, what? What? A video game? What? Like it takes them a second to like get past that whole like, oh, that's a thing that can happen.
Right.
And so it's always really funny watching how long it takes someone to get over that initial like disbelief.
Right.
A big part of making this was studying the kind of the movie-based video games that I grew up with.
Yeah.
and how they all adapted their stories from their movies to make for more playable games.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, Preston, we should talk about this, because the stuff that came out is absolutely amazing. And even the bad games can be really, really interesting.
Right. Well, anyway, congratulations on the release of the game. The link will be in the description box below this video. You guys can go there and check it out and play it for free. Of course, tips are welcome. Keep supporting indie filmmakers right here. But really quick, before we get to the list, before we go down memory lane here, just for those who are watching right now, the style, James, of the game, it kind of looks like action platformer, but I think you mentioned before that this is kind of Castlevania inspired, right? Where you could switch between the two leads of the film.
Yeah, basically, Elvis is a big Castlevania fan, and that's how we kind of discussed the game in terms of old school Castlevania.
Right.
But yeah, I rearranged the story so that the two main characters team up at the very beginning. Okay. And so you just press select and bounce between them, and they complement each other really well. Like the one character, Isaac, uses a sword. Right. And then the other character, Layla, uses a gun. And they're both great for different scenarios. Nice. So I tend to switch between them a lot. But if you ever want extra challenge, just pick one at the start of the first level and stick with them. Okay. Because you're going to run into situations where, oh yeah, Layla just like annihilates people, but then she encounters bats, and bats are real sons of bitches in this game.
Need that sword.
The sword makes life with bats so much easier.
Nice. Copy that. Reggie, I'm putting you on the spot. Favorite Castlevania game?
Rondo of Blood.
Ooh, nice. Very nice. Yeah.
It had difficult levels. I like the different paths that you had in that game. The different, well, not all the different paths, but that game was just really solid for like the story and what it led into with the Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So I just love that game just for that reason too. And animated cutscenes in the intro were great. It was deep, and you got to fight a lot of the older enemies from older Castlevania games in that game too.
Oh shit,
so that was kind of cool. Yeah, there's a part where you fight this dark priest, and he starts to summon all the monsters from the original game, like the bat, the mummy, Frankenstein's monster, and all that stuff. So yeah,
nice. The music in that game is incredible.
It is.
I might do a let's play of that game for like October, getting the mood, the horror mood. But yeah, let's have some fun here. Let's go down some titles here. Go down the list of memory lane, making me feel old, but it's all good. It's all fun. But yeah, James has some picks here. We're going to start with the 80s. And then after we go through the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, I have some bootleg list on the side here. And I will just do that just for funsies at the end here. But at the very first here, for the 80s, Terminator, Total Recall, and Predator. And I'm assuming these are the ones from the 8-bit Nintendo versions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't remember any of these being good.
I don't. You're not misremembering. They were all pretty terrible.
Right.
But
Reggie,
they were
did you play those?
It's surprising that occasionally they got Arnold's likeness. Like I think the opening screen of Total Recall is a very ugly pixelated Arnold Schwarzenegger before you. Like that game is so bizarre. Like you get yanked into alleys by like guys half your size, and you just like punch them like to the other side of the screen as Arnold. It's one of those things. A lot of these movie-based games from back then, they didn't really know what to adapt, how to adapt it, and what to ignore from the movie. So they just try to cram in things that don't quite work. And I think I forget the part of the movie where he gets yanked into the alley and is beaten up by a little person, but they put that in the game.
Basically, they were the way they tried to sell those games. Obviously, they put the movie on the cover. That was how they mainly tried to market them and sell them. Like, play Total Recall. They tried not to show footage. Of course, that was you found that out on your own when you bought the game.
Yeah. What the fuck did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Like, I got this game for Christmas. This is the only thing I have to play till my birthday. And
that was the first movie where I actually saw Arnold actually get beat up. Was Total Recall. Like that was the first one. I was like, wow, how did this happen? Because he's always
Sharon Stone who beat him up, right?
Yeah.
And Michael Ironside. Yeah, Michael Ironside got some good licks in before,
Sucker Punch.
See you at the party, Victor. But I got another one for you, James. RoboCop.
Oh,
for Nintendo 8-bit. And I remember being so excited to rent that. And I was like, oh man, the first level has the 8-bit version of the RoboCop theme song. Right? Yep. And then I was like, this is awesome. And then level 2 starts.
Kept going.
And I was like, oh my God, we're still doing this. Level 30.
I was absolutely trying to avoid with Lost Phoenix.
I was like, oh, this is horrible. This is horrible. But yeah, I don't remember those being any good. But yeah, there was a Rambo game. I never played Rambo for Nintendo 8-bit era. Did you ever play Rambo, Reggie?
I think I don't know which version I played of it. I remember there was a Rambo game I played where you have to rescue hostages. So I don't know if that was the NES version or the Genesis one. But I remember it was okay. But it was nothing like I was thrilled to play. Like, hey, let's play Rambo. People. Like, no, I wasn't like that. So
what was that, James?
Were you behind his back shooting dudes, or was it like a side scroller?
Side scroller.
Side.
Okay, so it's probably an NES one. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Now, Die Hard. I don't remember playing Die Hard.
So Die Hard is one of the things I really wanted to talk about because there are 5 Die Hard games. Right. And for the most part, they all are very different in how they interpret Die Hard. Mm-hmm. And the first one for the NES is fantastic for 2 reasons. Number one, you have a foot meter because John McClane is barefoot. So if you run across debris or broken glass, your foot meter goes down.
Wow.
And so of all the things in the movie, you decided to do that, guys. That's, good on you.
I heard it's Quentin Tarantino's favorite game.
Oh, God. Probably. And the other one is there's a finite number of enemies in that game.
Okay.
Which is actually really neat because the movie is all about the fact that McClane is keeping track of the terrorists he's fighting and how many are gone, how many are still left. So it's kind of neat that they did that. And I really kind of wish more games would embrace that idea of I don't need to kill 500 NPCs. Give me 15 boss level enemies to deal with, and just make them count.
Right.
But there's a nice little Easter egg where you can go up onto the rooftop early in the story, and if you run up to the edge of the roof and hit the A button, McClane will say, "There's no way I'm going to jump off this roof. I'm not that crazy."
Really?
Yet. So yeah, if you try to go to that bit before it happens in the story, he'll straight up say, "No, I'm not doing that."
Oh wow! So I think I missed out. Yeah,
it's also a terrible game. It's not fun to play, but it's terrible in a really interesting way.
Okay.
So 2 Die Hard games I want to talk about. One is a trilogy, and one was an arcade game. So we have Die Hard, the arcade game, which is based off the first game. I mean, the first movie. Yeah. And that game is freaking awesome because they have, not only are you beating up enemies, you're going through all this crazy explosions, trying to escape or get to the main villain, but it has these quick time events. And you'll be running or whatever like that, and the enemy will peep his head around the corner and they'll say punch. And if you punch him, the way you punch the guys, it lifts him off his feet. The camera angles are so funny in that game, how it looks, and the way you bop him, dude, it's insane. And that game is really a lot of fun. Now, the other game, which is Die Hard Trilogy, that one is based off the first 3 movies, and they all play differently. So the first one has you trying to in the tower, I think you're defusing bombs or something like that. I can't remember, but you're taking out enemies, and it's okay. Then you get to the second, get to the second game. It's a gallery shooter, pretty much like a rail shooter. So you're at the airport. That was actually kind of fun, but the hit detection on some of the enemies is kind of weird. Now the third one, which is my favorite one, that's the one with Samuel L. Jackson. They got this this version of music playing by Public Enemy. It's like a remix of Public Enemy, but they remix it enough to where they wouldn't get copyright claimed or whatever like that. It's great. But basically, you're driving in the car trying to defuse bombs in New York, and you have to run them over. to defuse them. It looks so silly.
We know that's how it works.
Yeah, and and the funny part is, like, if you hit any pedestrians on the road, the windshield wipers will have blood on them. And he said, and then like you'll have Samuel Jackson character say, "You trying to aim for these people?" And he'll say "Yippee ki-yay!" Like they'll have different dialogue like that in there, which is hilarious. But it's so much fun. And I actually did a video on it years ago, which is hilarious. But yeah, those are the ones. Those are actually, I think, are pretty. That trilogy is decent, but the arcade game I consider probably the best Die Hard game ever.
Yeah.
What was it also called?
That was a reskin, wasn't it? That was Dynamite Cop from Japan.
I think it was. I think you did reskin it. Yeah, Dynamite Deca or something like that.
But what's crazy is because I played Dynamite Cop 2, and the main character's name, the Bruce Willis character's name, is Bruno.
Bruno, yeah.
Which is like, hey, remember when Bruce Willis tried to be like a jazz musician or something? But yeah,
oh man,
that was. It's kind of neat that they did that because it's a fantastic game, but it's. The only other time I can think they did that was they made a Universal Soldier game that was basically they reskinned the game Turrican or Turrican.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah. That's right.
So you're basically Luke Devereaux fighting sci-fi creatures and like giant head bad guys.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Normally it happened the opposite. Like you'd have Kung Fu was basically Wheels on Meals.
Yeah. Right. They're supposed to be Wheels on Meals, based off of Wheels on Meals. Everybody watching right now, if you haven't noticed, we're just jumping around. So fuck it. We're trying to go by era. Fuck it. We're going to jump all the way around here.
And we're going to fail at it, but you're going to enjoy it anyway.
Now, Reggie, wasn't there a Die Hard Trilogy 2?
Yeah, that one was horrible. They were basically trying to bank off the success of the first one because the first one became a greatest hit. So, become a greatest hit so well. They said, let's make another one. And it just didn't they tried to add some story to it, which was like lame. Like you could tell it was like a budget game. It's okay, but it's nothing like you can say, hey, let's play Die Hard Trilogy 2 if a friend comes over. You know what I mean? It's like,
is that based in Vegas?
Yeah, people in Vegas or something like that.
Right. And I think there was a Die Hard game for PC, but I don't know if that was any good though.
Did you ever play Die Hard Vendetta for like the PS2, GameCube?
Yeah, briefly.
No,
was that any good?
It's okay. It's interesting, but they needed to polish it a bit more to make it actually stand out. They rushed it, you could tell, but it had potential to be good though. It has its own story, which is pretty cool, but it just there's certain issues in there, like detections and stuff like that, and how difficult it could get. It's kind of weird sometimes. So yeah.
But they got Reginald Vell Johnson to be in that game. They got Carl Winston. Yeah, he appears in it. His likeness.
Oh, man. That's amazing. That's
now, is it worse than A Good Day to Die Hard though? Because that movie was just.
I never saw it.
Don't.
I saw the fourth one and that was it. I saw reviews for the fifth one. They were saying like it was like Bruce Willis didn't want to be there or something like that. Or this. Yeah.
Well, Guy Courtney was there. Why would he want to be there?
But yeah, let's keep it going here. The last one for 80s that we have listed as of right now is Batman. That's the big one right there.
Oh, okay.
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Reggie, was that the first time you could like wall jump like before Ninja Gaiden was doing that in Shinobi? You could kind of wall jump, right? Or maybe Ninja Gaiden did that first.
I think they came out the same year though. I think Ninja Gaiden came out before. I think it came out before Batman. But anyways, that's the first one you go wall jump. That was a good game. It was difficult for me. I was young when I played that one, so I had a hard time.
Yeah.
I remember Batman being purple in that game, which I thought was weird. But
they ran out of colors or something.
Yeah. But you have to really get used to the mechanic of the wall jumping in that game because you're going to need it because you're platforming and stuff. But once you get used to that, it's a pretty solid game. It has a really good soundtrack to it.
Yes,
so, very impressive.
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember the cinemas were from the movie too, which was dope. Seeing that back in the day, and but the game just kind of did its own thing. Yeah. But Batman for Sega Genesis was legit, bro. That was legit. Have you ever played that one, Reggie?
Based off my Sun's Off?
I don't know who made.
It might have been based off the first movie, but it might have been.
I think Sunsoft made that one, but it was graphically enhanced. I didn't really play that one much. I only saw it a couple of times, but that one's really.
That one's great because you get to play. You get. I mean, it's like from the movie, levels from the movie. You fight you fight in the museum. You know, it's like they play around with bosses and stuff like that. But the music's great. You have Batwing levels, Batmobile levels from the original movie. Batman is amazing for Sega Genesis. The only nitpick I have with it is that it's really short. You can beat it like that. But yeah, if you guys haven't played Batman for Sega Genesis, it's good stuff.
It's kind of like the arcade game then in a way, because the Batman arcade game is a lot of people don't know that exists. That one was actually pretty good.
That might be the best one based off of the first movie.
The first movie,
I mean,
yeah, 100%. You know,
I have to check that one out. I didn't even know that was a thing.
It was made by Atari, out of all people, too. You know, Atari was making them arcade game. Yeah.
Wow. Copy that. All right, let's go to the 90s here, kind of. All right, let's do Jurassic Park. Yeah, Jurassic Park had a lot of different games. I remember the ones for Sega Genesis were entertaining. Then one for Super Nintendo were good too, right?
Yeah. So start with Super Nintendo one. It was like a top-down a game. I remember I had fun with that one. The first Genesis one, I liked the whole effect when they're in the car and the dinosaur, they can see him in the rear view. And that was a cool effect back then. But I never got into that one. I actually got into its sequel, which was like some kind of extra game. I forgot what it was called, but that one was freaking awesome. But I think the Jurassic Park games, from what I remember, were pretty solid games for back then.
Yeah,
you know,
and they were all pretty different too, because you had like on the Nintendo side, it was all top down, and the Sega side, it was all like side scrolling. And I would argue that the Super Nintendo one was probably the better game.
Yeah,
but everybody has the memories of the Sega Genesis one because
that special effect.
You get to be the raptor.
Yeah,
I mean, it really comes down to they understood what was so cool about Jurassic Park was the dinosaurs and especially the raptor, and like just the fact that the game starts with a T-Rex saying Sega. Like, okay, all right, they know their audience. They know who's coming to these games.
Yeah, I remember those were pretty fun. Pretty fun.
Then they made this weird kind of sequel called Jurassic Park 2: The Chaos Continues.
That's the one. Like that's Super Nintendo one, right?
That came out on all of them.
Oh,
like Super NES, Game Boy, Genesis, and it was. I played the Game Boy one, where you basically play as this like adorable little like chibi Grant, and the one for the Super Nintendo is frustratingly hard because every dinosaur is a bullet sponge, and but it's,
I remember this. It's like a side scroller shooter, like Contra a little bit. I remember this. Yeah,
they tried to justify going back to the island, so they somehow came up with a dumber plot than any of the Jurassic Park sequels could.
Right. Wasn't there, Reggie, a rare unreleased over here in the States Jurassic Park action game for Genesis, and the graphics were like really good?
Not that I remember. Not that I remember. I know that the one we're talking about right now, The Chaos Continues, was really impressive at the time because of the voice acting in the game. So it had these cinematics and everything that, you know, it gets overlooked today, but that game was actually pretty amazing how they did that. So I actually was at a convention recently, and I meant to pick the game up, but I forgot about it. So I have to go pick it up at another convention I go to. But I don't remember any like rare Jurassic Park game coming out to America.
Oh, it was called. I found it. It's called The Lost World Jurassic Park
for PS1.
No, for Genesis, bro. And yeah,
here
I'm gonna show you guys a picture here while we're still talking. I'm gonna upload it in StreamYard so you can see it. Yeah, this was
great.
Yeah, like
the movie came out in 97.
Yeah, but the graphics. I mean, look at this.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, the graphics were really good for Sega Genesis.
A late release.
Yeah, it was really pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome. We're going down memory lane.
When you say rare, do you mean like it's expensive or just like just?
It might be because it was never released here in the States.
Okay.
But you could probably find an emulation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find an emulation. But yeah, here's one more. Hold on. I got one more photo to show you guys. And then we'll keep it rocking and rolling here. What is the other one here? I already did Batman. True Lies. Let's talk about that one.
Yes.
True Lies for Super Nintendo.
I unfortunately never got to play it, but I saw how it looked, and the game looks freaking awesome. You know, that was a great movie. I'll never forget the scene in the car, you know, backhand. It's hilarious.
This movie is so great. In the game, I played it briefly. One of the things that popped out of me as being really weird is the beginning of the game starts off in that chateau he's trying to infiltrate in the beginning of the movie, but they didn't create a specific bespoke character sprite for Harry Tasker. So he's literally walking around with a freaking desert eagle like this, just like checking, like walking around all these rich people. How is this man not being tackled by security right now?
Because he's Arnold. But yeah, I remember True Lies for SNES was dope. I remember that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
But here's some more photos of that game. So right here, I think you're Jeff Goldblum and Dr. Alan Grant on this raft.
Jeff Goldblum tacked out? It looks like he's wearing like a cool sci-fi visor.
Yeah, it looks like it. But yeah, look at this screenshot right here. I mean, look at this. You're hanging out on the side of the vehicle shooting dinosaurs. This is Sega Genesis, bro. Mm-hmm. And here's another one where you're on I think you're on a motorcycle or a vehicle chasing and shooting down dinosaurs in the woods. So yeah, Lost World for Sega Genesis. Hopefully, I don't know, Reggie, you got to hunt it down now. Emulation. You got to try to do a video on it.
Or get a repro card or something like that. You know?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right. Now, Last Action Hero. I don't remember hearing good things about Last Action Hero.
This is the polar opposite of True Lies.
Yeah, talk about that.
Good movie, really good movie, but man, that game is absolute trash.
Wait, you thought Last Action Hero?
Yeah.
The game, yeah.
You said it was a good movie?
I enjoyed it.
Wow.
I know it's a controversial opinion, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, I remember people were saying any Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that's not one word is not a good movie, and that was like Last Action Hero was like the first one that people started talking about with that. I remember seeing it. I remember seeing it as a kid in the theaters. I remember nobody was in there, and I was like, "Why isn't anybody in here? Like this is Arnold Schwarzenegger." But I need to go back and look at it again because I've only seen it once, so maybe I'll have a different opinion. But I've never played the game.
Yeah, the movie gets better with repeated viewing. I like it a lot more now. I like it a lot more now.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever played a game where you're literally playing for the first level and nothing works the way it should? Like you try to jump and there's like this long delay because it has to go through this very long animation of him like getting ready to jump off the ground. It doesn't look. It's a Super Nintendo game that looks like it's just a souped up like NES game. The controls are terrible. The music is terrible. I never got through the first level, and apparently there are multiple different versions of this thing. There's like Super Nintendo, NES, Genesis. I think for like the portables.
All trash.
Spread the misery, guys.
Right. Well, Reggie, I got a theory why your theater was empty when you saw the movie, because this movie came out the same year Jurassic Park did.
We were all watching Jurassic Park.
And also, it came out the same year as the Pelican. No, not the Pelican. The what's that movie with Nicolas Cage and Tom Cruise? Like, the truth or something like that. You can't.
Oh, A Few Good Men.
Yeah, was that 94 as well?
It was 90. I think it was 93. It came out the same year as the Super Mario Brothers movie. Everybody was going to see that shit. That's why Last Action Hero was empty. Everybody was going to see Bob Hoskins.
I saw that movie in theater, and my dad never let me forget that I took him to go see Super Mario Brothers.
Preston, you never get to choose the movie ever again.
I still to this day love that movie, man. Like I had a great time with it.
You know what's funny, Reggie? Believe it or not, I have been getting requests for us to do with you and Joel and everybody else to do a versus episode with the original Super Mario Brothers movie, the first one, and the most recent Super Mario Brothers movie. And believe it or not, there's
93.
Believe it or not, there's a good argument. I know it's stunning. It's just shocking. Everybody watching this video right now.
I'm not shocked at all because I think I could know what the argument is, but yeah, I think that would be a good topic.
There's a good argument of why the original one's better than the most recent one. The most recent one, huge hit, crowd pleaser. But we'll discuss it during that versus episode.
I do have a fun aside about that movie.
Okay.
So about a little over 10 years ago, I was working on a web series called Mario Warfare, which was shot in North Carolina.
Yes.
It's basically, imagine Super Mario Brothers if it was Call of Duty in a parody. And
Reggie, you got to see this, bro.
Yeah,
you got to see this short film he made, a little short film.
Oh no, it's
action
like a feature.
martial
It's
art.
like feature length. Like
yeah, that's right.
Like Jolly and Fat, the Mario Brothers attacked out. Luigi's hilarious.
Forward Reggie the link, James, when we're done here.
Definitely,
we can see it. Yeah,
but we're out there filming, and it's North Carolina, so it's hot. We're all tired, and I'm sitting on the most uncomfortable bench I've ever sat on in my life.
Yeah. And
Matt Sumner, the guy who plays Mario in the series, walks up to me like, "You know what you're sitting on?" Like, no, I don't. I know. And he's like, "That was in the Super Mario Brothers movie in '93. Apparently, the owner of the property worked in the art department for that movie, which was also shot in North Carolina." And he has a picture of Dennis Hopper standing on the bench. So literally then 20 years later, this guy is now helping with Mario Warfare. Wow, so basically every 20 years he gets involved with Mario something.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Monkey. Yeah, we got to do a versus episode. I think that's going to be epic. We got to do that for sure. Well, there was another movie I think came out in 1993 that I think it did a little bit better than Last Action Hero, which I think was kind of considered a bomb. But unfortunately, it didn't do as well as they wanted. And that's Cliffhanger. Did you guys play the Cliffhanger games? We're talking about the movie, but I think that came out in 93 too. But Cliffhanger video games for Sega Genesis and SNES. Did you guys play those?
Yes, I played the Sega CD one.
Dude,
and
yeah. But go ahead.
I liked it because I liked the movie so much. I think it might have kind of messed with my opinion of it because I like John Lithgow. Like when he plays a villain, dude, and he was so over the top in that movie, man. Like when the dude got shot, they said, "What do we do with him?" He said, "We'll get him to a hospital," and they threw him off the cliff or the helicopter. Stuff. It was hilarious. I'm like, dude, this guy is awesome. But seeing stuff like that when I was a kid, I just like seeing the game. I'd probably be biased about it. It might not be a good game, but I thought it was pretty good back in the day.
Did they use clips? Was it a FMV game with clips?
They used clips. I think they used clips to reward you. Like the intro had like the movie. It was really grainy though, but it still had that trailer for the movie and everything like that. I don't remember if they rewarded you with clips as you progress through the game, or if you FMV at the end. But I just remember just loving it because John Lithgow was. I was like, he's gonna be the bad guy in the game.
He's amazing, and Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker was also in that movie.
So this scene is so classic, man, because now the beginning of the movie is scary as hell because once you see like things aren't going well, I still get terrified watching that scene. But if you look at Michael Rooker while he's pulling the rope and the guy next to him, the guy has a big smile on his face. I don't think he realized that during the movie. It's so funny, dude. Like you go back and look at that clip, man, and the guy's just he's smiling, and as the scene gets more dramatic, you can see him laughing.
I got to go back and watch this now. This is hilarious.
We got to watch it after this, man. It'll be classic. We'll all have a laugh. But
wasn't the SNES like a Double Dragon style game though?
It's a beat 'em up.
Of all the weird types of games to make from Cliffhanger, you didn't make a platformer. You made a beat 'em up.
Right. But I would say skip because I actually own the Sega CD game. I would say skip because the beat 'em up part is generic. Skip the Genesis and SNES version, but the Sega CD version is worth buying because it still had the beat 'em up game in there, but it had the FMV clips from the film, which was cool. But it had these cool like snowboarding down the like avalanche.
Oh, I forgot about
down levels, and the graphics were really good, like really good, showing how Sega CD unfortunately wasn't pushed to its, what's the word I'm looking for, Reggie? It wasn't
full potential.
Hardware. Potential. Yeah, the potential, the hardware wasn't taken.
Well, a lot of the games were rushed. Like movie games are always rushed, obviously, because they want to make a deadline. Oh, we got to make this. Have the game out by the time the movie's here. Yeah, and developers don't get the time they need to make these games, so it's unfortunate. I think. Not trying to go off the topic here, but I think a lot of developers got to probably make good movie games around, I want to say, the PS2 era and next to the PS3 era. I think around that time you start to see good movie games.
Yes, which we're going to get to here.
It does improve.
Right. But before we move on, there was one more cool thing, Reggie, I remember in Sega CD's Cliffhanger. The movie soundtrack was during the levels. They had the actual score from the movie is played during the game. So
the Q sound.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, good old cliffhanger. Yeah. All right, let's keep it going here. Now, the Super Star Wars games. Ooh. Man, Reggie, very talk difficult. About those. I just remember those being awesome and then hard as fuck.
They were hard as hell, man. Like no polish. I mean, they look great, because obviously they were premiering for Super Nintendo, but they were just too difficult to enjoy, at least for me. So I didn't really play them much. I put them down and just went back to Mario World,
Yeah.
And then I remember a friend played it, and he was good at games, and even he put it down. He's like, man,
yeah.
I don't think we picked those games back up until like the game Genie came out, and then we were kind of we were playing with power, I was like a little cheating power, and then you were kind of getting past some hard parts, but it just wasn't fun unless you were a super hardcore like Star Wars player, and maybe then you could like it. But I just couldn't get into either of them.
I don't know how I did it, but I beat the first one.
Wow.
I have I still to this day I'm like, how did I do that? But what I love about it is how they basically are like, how do we maximize the gameplay here? Let's just make Luke a violent psychopath. Because literally it's like, oh, I'm gonna murder my way across the desert, find C-3PO, kill a whole bunch of scorpions, and you fight the Sarlacc pit at the end of the first level. Then you kill like 100 Jawas in a speeder bike on your speeder bike to get to the sandcrawler, kill more Jawas to go up the sandcrawler inside, fight a lava monster, and that's when you save R2-D2. Like it literally takes so many liberties with the story, and yet it still also kind of follows the story of the film, but it does so in a way of like, well, what if Luke met Chewbacca at the door to the cantina, and Chewbacca's like, I'm going to take you to meet my friend Han, but first these motherfuckers got to die, and you just like kill your way across the cantina. Like
it's fun.
Dozens of aliens, and there's people in the background just like having drinks, watching you do it.
Right. Didn't one of the games, or maybe all of them did it, where you could like pick what song did you want to play the game to, like a level. You could change the music to another level's music. Because I could have sworn, a buddy of mine, he was playing an X-wing level, and he had, while playing the X-wing level, he had on the background. He had that
maybe that was a Game Genie thing. That'd be amazing.
Maybe. I just remember laughing. I was just busting out. But yeah, cool graphics. It's just those games were hard.
It's too hard. Way too hard.
Now we have a guilty pleasure, and this is my guilty pleasure. But I regret selling this game. I wish I still had it. I had the big case, PS1 case, jewel case for it, and I wish I didn't sell it. But Street Fighter the movie, I am going to kick Bison's ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is going to feel it. Let's talk about that, James.
Oh man. So there are these two really, really great oral histories of the making of the movie and the making of the game. And in both cases, it's a total train wreck.
Yeah.
And I don't know how anything usable came from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's two different Street Fighter movie games.
Yeah.
The arcade one is very Mortal Kombat, made by an American company.
Mm-hmm.
But while the American company was getting all like the mocap sessions with the actors, there's a bunch of Capcom people like, all right, now get this move. We need this move. Get this move too. Like for what? For our game. This was at one point this was positioned as Street Fighter 3.
Oh,
that's mind blowing to think about. That if that had turned out better, that would be Street Fighter 3.
Wow, amazing.
But yeah,
they revamped the game engine and controls for the home release. The PS1.
Yeah, it was almost like a different game in a way.
Yeah.
Thank goodness they did it, because the arcade game wasn't really great at all.
It had the graphics,
really good,
but that was it. Yeah, it had the graphics.
Yeah. It had Akuma in it, and Ernie Reyes Sr. was Akuma.
They brought Sawada in it, which was a new character kind of in the movie. He was in the game.
I love the movie, but we'll talk about it.
I do too, man. If you watch it like a comedy, if you look at it as a comedy, man, it's even better. I remember trying to watch it as a kid and trying to take it seriously, and I was like, dude, But it actually has a sequel. A lot of people don't know about the Street Fighter cartoon that used to come on Saturday mornings was a sequel to the movie. So that was kind of.
It was supposed to be a sequel.
It is a direct sequel.
It was based. Yeah, it was like based off of it, it was a direct sequel because the characters portrayed their same roles that they did in the movies. Like Ken and Ryu were still thieves and stuff like that.
Oh so wow.
Captain Sawada's in the cartoon also.
He's in the cartoon. He hates Guile, and
is that the same cartoon where Bison's like, yes.
It's that one.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, I just had fun playing with it because it played like Street Fighter.
It's not a terrible game. It's just kind of an awkward version of Super Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, that's all it is, Yeah.
Yeah. But it's Raul Julia is the GOAT. He is the GOAT in that movie. He did that movie for his kids. And he just had an absolute blast being over the top. And the It Was Tuesday line. It has to go down. It is one of the greatest movie villain lines in history. No matter what you think about that movie, people still go, well, for me, it was
just Tuesday. Yeah, that whole scene.
When I killed your father.
Yeah, that whole scene with him and Chung Lee was great. And then the scene after it, where the Street Fighters burst in and try to attack Bison, but he backs behind this case, this glass wall or whatever like that. And then like he gasses them, and they're all there and they're choking there. And he goes to this picture of Bison, like in the smoke, and he just show him just laughing. And all Julia's face when he's laughing is epic, dude. Like a lot of people don't talk about it, like how he looked. Like he looked insane, dude. And I feel like that's what they got for the new Bison, how he's always smiling like that, crazy with smiles. Like I think they got that from Raul Julia because Bison never smiled like that until that movie came out. It's crazy.
I actually interviewed way back in the early days of podcasting. I actually interviewed Andrew Briniarski, who played Zangief in the film. Huh. If you want to see up to this point, out of all the years I've been podcasting, that episode with me interviewing Andrew has got to be the absolute batshit insane, wildest episode ever. Right. That episode deserves 30,000 views. Okay, even more. You got to watch it. It's insane. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. But yeah, it's a guilty pleasure.
One more line from the movie that I'll never forget. So there's a point like kind of towards the end of the movie, and Sagat, he does something that I can't remember that he messed up on something, right? And then he was all like embarrassed, and Bison looked at him and said, I guess you didn't see that, did you? And that line was great too.
You wonder like how much of that was in the script and how much of that was Raul Julia.
Yeah. And don't forget the other funny, hilarious scene where they're watching the television. And like they're watching a monitor, all the villains.
Oh, and Zangief.
Yeah, there's a bomb. You see the good guys with the bomb pushing it towards the and Zangief goes, "Quick, change the channel."
I remember. I remember my stepdad were watching it like because it came on cable TV, and he'd start busting up laughing. I never seen him laugh like that before. That line was like perfect, like change the channel.
It's just too much fun. Too much fun. And a buddy of mine, shout out to stuntman, filmmaker Alex Chung, rubbed it in my face. He bought the Street Fighter the movie Steelbook Blu-ray.
Oh, with the $1.
It came with a $1 from Bisonica. It came with a Bison dollar with Raul Julia's face on it, and I'm just like, why am I not buying this right now? I need to buy this. Oh man, this is amazing.
I need that $1.
Dude,
is it?
Yeah, the making of the game still has some really great. Just you have like the most bizarre images, like distinguished Native American actor Wes Studi dressed as Sagat, holding a box, pretending it's a fireball. Has I've seen an interview. He had no idea what the hell was going on. Like why am I doing this? I guess Van Damme showed up.
Yeah.
And it was just a colossal pain in the ass. He did the moves too fast and wouldn't slow down. He left early. So most of what you see of Guile is actually his stunt double.
Right.
But they wanted to put a blonde wig on Ken to make him look more like the game, and the makers, the Capcom's like, no, don't do that.
They should have did it. Add to the comedy. Fuck it. fucking at this point. But anyway, but yeah, we could talk all day about Street Fighter the movie, but let's get back to these games here. All right. GoldenEye for Nintendo 64. Come on. When that came out, that was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it overrated, Reggie? Is it overrated or is it legit?
No, it's legit, at least for the time. You know, first person games. Yeah, I think around the time started to get their. That was the first game that kind of started to get them more popular. I would say, because before that you had the like boomer shooters and all that stuff. GoldenEye was tight. I remember when we played that game, and I remember when you hit the pause button, it goes to his watch and starts playing this epic like James Bond music. Man, it's so chill and relaxed. I was like, dude, this is insane. And when you push pause, it shows him go to the watch and it zooms in on it. It's great. It was the levels were very open and fun. You had your opportunity to sneak around and do things and do the objectives and everything like that. But of course, where the game like really shined was the multiplayer. Yeah, I mean, if you get 4 people playing, and you know, certain weapons, remote mines were insane because everybody would plant those everywhere, just blowing people up. But insanely fun game, man. Yeah, I think it was definitely one of the top games of its time. So yeah, definitely not overrated.
And it followed the movie pretty well.
Oh yeah, it did.
In terms of levels.
Yeah, it did.
I want to say the team got to go to the set. Like, so before GoldenEye came out, these like video game tie-ins were kind of viewed the same way like a lunchbox would be. Like whatever, just make something where it'll help us squeeze a little more money out of the property. Yeah. So this team of newbies, by the way, got access to blueprints, set pictures, the script, all this stuff. And that's why, like, when you play the game and you go and watch the movie, in some cases it is 1-to-1, the game and the set. Right. But there's this really great documentary called Golden Era. I think it's on Tubi right now, and it's about the making of GoldenEye. Oh, and man. It was a team of total newbies. Most of them had never made a game before. It started as a Super Nintendo game, went way over time, came out 2 years after the movie. Yeah. The multiplayer, like, their bosses told them, don't try to put a multiplayer in this game. Wow. And they put a multiplayer in the game like 2 weeks before it went to launch. And if it hadn't happened like that, GoldenEye would not be what it is today. Right. Yeah. It's really rickety. I tried to play it recently. It's very rickety. It's a lot easier to play Perfect Dark. Right. But I would argue it's the only influential movie-based game ever.
Yeah, fuck you guys out there who play fucking Odd Job. Fuck you guys who plays pick Odd Job. My buddy would always pick Odd Job, and he would crouch. Odd Job's already short, so if you crouch, you can't see him when he's going around. So he would go around just keep knifing us in the nards, and he would kill all of us.
Shout out to the heroes who played as Jaws or Baron or that Baron guy with the giant hat. Yeah. Like you weren't afraid of being a massive target. You were just that good, or you were just that stupid.
Anyway, let's keep it going here. All right. Oh, James's favorite, The Crow City of Angels.
Oh God.
Your favorite game, James.
No. Hey, you want to talk about bad things that are called The Crow? The Crow City of Angels. Imagine it kind of controls a bit like Resident Evil, but it's a brawler.
Yeah.
And I really wonder who thought that was a good idea. who took one like, oh well, we could totally make this brawler thing. Yes. But instead of making control like a proper 3D game, we're gonna make it control like tank controls.
Yeah.
PS1 had a lot of experimental games on it, that's for sure. Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw footage of it and I was like, "Oh, dude, this
it's so generic because you've seen the Crow. He's very mysterious. He's not like going around like walking around beating people up. He'll do some stealth beat you up, but he's not gonna just walk around just where he's. Yeah, it was insane. Like I don't know what they were thinking with that one, but they thought it would sell. They thought the game would. They thought the movie would sell the game, so they're like, we'll just do this, and it was horrible, horrible. Like remember my old thing, 2 toes down. Yeah, that's how bad it is. 2 toes down.
2 toes down. Oh man. Speaking of absolutely atrocious movies, and I reviewed this way back in the day. This was definitely on the Is It Really That Bad episode. And this is the first time I actually agreed. One of the rare times I actually agreed with the critics' score. 0%. Ballistic X versus Sever is fucking horrible. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And I had no idea there was a game, James, until you told me. I was like, what?
No, there are 2 games.
2 games?
2 games.
What?
This is a neat one. Okay. Apparently, they were the company, a company called Crawfish Interactive, was hired to make a Game Boy Advance first-person shooter based on this really cool, this amazing upcoming movie called X versus Sever.
No, I know that. I actually own those games. Okay, now I recognize them. Sorry.
Yeah, and the first game came out before the movie because the production went perfectly fine, but the movie got delayed because they couldn't get their act together. So they're like, well, we have this really good game, and the Game Boy Advance is launching around that time. They just released it. They're like, it just comes out, and it's really cool because it is very much you either play as X or Sever. Right. And you encounter each other. So if you play as X, the first level, you're like running through and you're occasionally encountering Sever. But if you play as Sever, you see that whole level from her perspective. So it's the same. So you're in direct conflict with this other character. And it's really it's really neat what they did. It's plays pretty well. It's a little rough, GBA first year. Yeah. And then they finally got the movie done. And by that point, they made a second game that came out alongside the movie. I'd argue in some ways it was better than the first. In some ways, the first was more interesting. But the movie came out, landed like a wet fart in church, and that was the end of all of it. Like they were supposed to have a PS2 game.
Reggie, did you play those games?
Yeah, I own them. I was going to say, with the second game, they even had silhouettes ready for the main actors, but I guess there was some kind of, they wanted more money. So you can see the silhouettes of Antonio Banderas and Lucy Liu on the cover. You can know it's them, but they had to like blur them out because I guess they didn't work out money to be on the cover. They're very, I think their games actually push the Game Boy Advance a bit. It's a 32-bit system. I like them, but
I'm sure they're better than the movie.
They're better than the movie. Yeah, definitely.
The first one was literally being compared to GoldenEye before it came out.
Really?
And it's like, imagine GoldenEye, but if it played kind of like Wolfenstein 3D. And that's pretty much what X versus Sever was.
Interesting. Copy that. Now, this is one of the greatest movie licensed video games of all time. I loved it. I have it for Xbox, but it's on PS2 as well. And it's on, digitally. You can get it on the PlayStation Store and whatnot. Warriors, come out to play. Yo, that game is the fucking shit, and it hurts that it didn't do gangbusters, especially around the time where people were like, movie license games, 90% of them suck, and then no one played the fucking Warriors. I'm like, dude, this is a travesty.
And Rockstar was the one that put it together. The promotion for the game was pretty top notch at the time. I remember they even made an arcade game for it. And that they did like giveaways for. So there's a couple arcade games based off the Warriors out there.
I didn't know that.
It's based off a mini game in itself. Like it's a beat 'em up Warriors game inside of it. Not the 3D one.
I remember
we
that.
all know.
Okay, I remember that. Okay,
yeah. But that game was awesome because it's a part of the lore. I mean, it's officially a part of the Warriors story, like how they came together, how they joined the crews, how they went up against the other gangs like the Boppers and everything like that. And they got the voice actors back for it too. That did the ones that came back. One of them passed away. I think Rembrandt has passed away, but most of them came back to do the voices, which was nice. Even Cleon, at all people, he got like axed in the first few minutes of the movie, and he came back. But he has a stronger role in the game though because you see how everything comes together. So very well put together.
So the events of the movie make up the final level of the game, right?
Yeah,
which is really
very
cool.
Intense too. Like you feel the tense, like you're being stalked by the other gangs, like the Turbo ACs. That whole section is crazy. Yeah. The Baseball Fury section, and then you lose members. Like you lose Ajax, which sucks. I always regret it losing Ajax in the movie, man. I felt like he should have been in towards the end, but he got out of there. So it's like,
speaking of Ajax, they temporarily released the Warriors in a small theater down in Hollywood. And me and my buddy, this is way back, me and my buddy went to go see it, and there was a huge line because, Warriors fans showed up. And what was cool there, they had a Q&A, and they had the actress that was in the film. I forgot who else was there. The name skips me right now, but Ajax was there, James Remar. who I ended up meeting later at a convention. I got my picture with him, and he's fucking G. They were talking about the video game then, how the game was so good. So yeah, that was a nice fun moment seeing Ajax, James Remar, man. Yeah, Raiden. That's right, Raiden from Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
yeah, I never forget that line he had. Like, Raiden, will you help us? He's like, I will pray for you. I'm like, oh my god, horrible.
But Raiden thoughts and prayed them. God,
the movie didn't happen. I don't know.
I wanted to mention this too. David Patrick Kelly, I think that's his name. The guy did the Warriors come out to play.
Yeah,
he didn't come back and do his voice. He didn't do the voice of that in the movie, unfortunately. So it sounds kind of weird on that part. But yeah.
But still, absolute phenomenal game.
What's sad is like people avoided it because it was a movie-based game, but the 2000s was like that was an amazing decade.
Yeah,
for movie-based games. Like you had The Warriors, Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Riddick, Scarface, King Kong, The Godfather. For every bad one, there were also plenty of them that were really, really fun to play.
Oh yeah, man! The Lord of the Rings games were so good. It was Two Towers. It was hard as fuck that last level in Two Towers.
Yeah, it was epic though.
Oh, it was so good. The music from the movie and the third film, Return of the King, so epic. Like we're just so good. Yeah, those are the two pinnacles I would put up there. If I was going to do like top 10 movie licensed games of all time, Lord of the Rings, those first two games were good. And unfortunately, I've never played Peter Jackson's King Kong, James, but I heard it was great when it came
one
out.
is really good. Yeah, that's one I would say one of the top movie games out there. They really they did a good job on that one. So
yeah. Now, Chronicles of Riddick, one of the greatest movie-based games as well, too.
Yeah, that game was fun.
Now
it needs to come back. They need to bring we're getting a fourth Riddick movie.
Yes, finally.
Wait, what? We are?
Yeah. Period.
That's confirmed.
It's confirmed. They're starting to film it, right? They're starting to film it now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, I didn't know that was confirmed. I thought.
Well, Vin Diesel owns Riddick now personally, so he can make whatever he wants. He just has to get the money.
Let's go.
He's got the writer, the same director. The writer for all the movies is on board. So
nice. Yeah. Oh, God.
Does he still own Tygon Studios, or is that over?
I'm not really sure. But I kind of understand why he's starting so many Fast and the Furious movies and making all that big money. So he's got a production.
Bills, man.
Yeah. So he can make this movie if he wants to, and which is nice. Finally,
that's yacht money. Like this year. So one of the neat things that happened this year is all these like famous people they made their passion projects by putting their own money into it. Like was Oliver Stone or what? No, it was Francis Ford Coppola sold part of his wine business so he could make Megalopolis. So $120 million on a sci-fi movie he's been trying to make for 20 years. Then Kevin Costner did the same thing. He put a whole bunch of his properties up as collateral to make a series of 4 Westerns. So Vin Diesel, like, at some point, is he going to be like, all right, I'm going to liquidate all his bunch of stuff. I'm going to make the Riddick movie I want to make. No one's going to tell me what to do with it.
Yes.
And I'm going to have the budget I need and all of that.
I'm so happy right now.
I wonder if that'll ever happen. But yeah, no, they're working on it now.
Okay.
I think
do you guys still think there's enough Riddick fans out there? Because it's been so long. I mean, we got the last movie, Riddick, was 10 years ago, and I thought they were going to do a sequel a couple years after that. But now here we are 10 years later. So
but
they got to do it smart, man, with the budget.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Riddick fans, but there's a lot of Vin Diesel fans.
Mm-hmm. So I think they'll come.
They'll see him. I mean, as long as it makes it look fucking badass and sick, dude. Come up with a kick-ass trailer, dude. We'll go. I mean, the casuals will go see it.
The story for it is looking pretty good. I mean, they're going to his origins, so it's like, yes.
Okay, all right. But yeah, Escape from Butcher Bay was an amazing video game for sure. But since we're talking about Vin Diesel here, hold on a second. Reggie, have you played Fast and Furious Crossroads, which I'm hearing is one of the greatest good bad games ever made, and now it's gone. It's extremely rare now. It's like, is it delisted now? What's the term I'm looking for?
Is that the one where on the cover where it has the guy jumping onto the other car while they're racing? Or I don't remember that one very well. I thought you were going to say the Wheelman.
No, I remember. You know, I actually have the Wheelman.
I love that game.
And I remember enjoying it. But no, Fast and Furious Crossroads came out for PC, PS4, Xbox One. I heard that's hilariously bad, but fun, like good bad. And now you can't find it. It's gone. Wow. You can't find it anymore. They don't sell it anymore. So
they're trying to bury it.
Yeah.
You're gonna pretend it's never happened. Right. But you go to any Dave & Buster's and the Fast and Furious arcade game is always
yeah. Yeah, it's in my movie theater. It's like, what the hell?
So it's called Fast and the Furious Crossroads.
I think that's it, yeah.
I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
It got delisted.
$5,000 loose disc. You bastards.
Oh my goodness. But Minority Report is a great throwing dudes through windows simulator.
I never played that full game.
Yeah,
I got it on a PS and a PlayStation Magazine demo disc. And I was like, well, this game isn't very fun, but man, throwing guys through plate glass windows with the ragdoll physics is just, it's fun. It's a fun, like, 30 minutes.
Okay. Reggie, you played Minority Report game?
I always wanted to. I think I own it on the Game Boy Advance. I think I have that version, but I never played the PS2 one.
Right. Copy that. Well, here's another.
It's basically like a spinoff of Total Recall, right? The Minority Report, like as they say. It's
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Is it?
It's based on a Philip K. Dick short story, so it's kind of in the Philip K. Dick extended universe.
Okay. Interesting. Here we go. Here's another big one right here. Another great example of the video game based off of the movie is 5 million times better than the movie itself. X-Men Origins Wolverine is the fucking shit. That is the shit. And I remember the opening cinematic, and it was so violent and bloody, and you got one of the soldiers is hiding behind this wall, and he's got his head up against the wall, and all of a sudden, snick it. Like the claws go through the wall, through his head, blood everywhere, and Wolverine's on the other side, like, yeah, I got you, bub. And I was just like, this is already better than that atrocious movie. It's so good. So good.
You guys
played that one?
Talk about people who know the game they're making. It's basically just God of War, but they use the licensed characters so well.
Right.
Yeah.
So Origins, the movie, is that the one where Deadpool was in it?
No.
He had like his mouth sewn shut, so it's Bizarro Deadpool.
Okay, I feel weird because I actually like that movie, and I saw it weird.
I could see people liking it for good, bad purposes.
I like it because of his brother Sabretooth in the movie.
Sabretooth's one of the positives.
That's the reason.
The opening, the whole opening scenario showing him and his brother through the different eras of war, that was legitimately good.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, but I saw a weird version of the movie. There was an early cut of the movie that got leaked on the internet.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I'll never forget the Deadpool, and you can see the strings and
Scott Adkins and appearance.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the hell did that get leaked, man? And
the CGI wasn't done either. It was like an early
and
they blamed that. They blame that leak for the movie's failure, and it's like, no, you know why you guys failed.
You know why? It was crazy though, because I remember my buddy had downloaded it on his computer, and we watched it, and we went back to watch it like the next day, and the file was gone. We're like, what the hell? Like it was just disappeared. Like, whoa, what's going on here? Yeah. So I was like, that was crazy. But that was my experience with the movie. I have to go back and watch it again to make sure I still feel the same way about it. Right. But go back to the game though, man. I mean, they really, the PS3 version of the game, like they really like made sure they got to do what they wanted, which shows.
Yeah. Fuck the other versions of that game though.
Yeah.
Because I think the PS2 version was something totally different. It was garbage.
Yeah.
Like the PS3 version is the one, like Reggie said.
Just something like the damage that would like show on Hugh like basically like see like the model he looked like Hugh Jackman, didn't he?
Yeah, from what I remember,
yeah. And his like he'd get like ripped apart. He's got skin hanging off of him. He's like gaping wounds. And just like he would get genuinely messed up in that game and heal from it. But I heard if you would get super messed up and then go into a cutscene, you'd have a person talking to you like nothing's happening. Meanwhile, half your face is missing. Like, just don't stare at it. Just don't pretend like you don't see it.
Yeah, just so good. Just launching yourself on top of helicopters, fucking people up, killing them
guy up into the blades.
Yeah, the blades. Oh, another fun moment going back to the Warriors video game. One of my favorites is it gets to the end of the movie, the end of the game, and you get to play as the Riffs kicking the villain's ass while the game credits are going up. You get to play as the Riffs beating the shit out of them on the beach while the game credits are going up. It's so good. Sorry,
that's a scary scene though, because I remember when I saw that scene where they let the Warriors go, and you can see like David Patrick Kelly's character like he's all colored up because his hand, and then you just see the Rips just walking up on him like from different angles, and you hear him scream. It's eerie if you think about it, man, because you know what's going down. They're at a beach, like isolated from like everything, and it's like
hey, Reggie. No, it wasn't us. It was them.
The Warriors did it.
Did you know the Warriors come out and play scene was ad-libbed?
He did that all,
That was ad-libbed.
Totally see that.
The bottles and everything?
Yeah, he said the director, Walter Hill, went up to him and said, I want you to do something that you think would scare them. They don't know what you're going to do. I'm just going to film you. And so he did that. One of the greatest movie ad-lib lines ever.
It is.
Sure. Yeah. And shout out to that actor. He's actually a martial artist. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
He's actually a martial artist. If you watch Dreamscape, he whips out spiked nunchucks in Dreamscape, and he's using spiked nunchucks. He actually knows martial arts, which is kind of a fun fact. I didn't know that about the guy. But yeah, let's keep going here. X-Men Origins, fantastic game.
Now we're getting into the slim pickings, the 2010s when
we're going to be all over the place.
When it all kind of came crumbling down.
Right. But we got some other ones here. Does this count, Reggie? Alien Trilogy for PS1. Does that count?
Yeah, because it's based off of the trilogy, obviously.
But in isolation, I'd say would count too.
Yes, because that's a sequel, right?
Yeah, it's an interquel. It's like between parts 1 and 2.
Right. Isn't it Ripley's daughter? Or no? Okay. Alien Trilogy for PS1. That was a great game.
That game legit scared me back in the day. Like that was the atmosphere was really good.
Yeah, because you had the sonar thing, so you can see where they were moving and everything. So yeah, I forgot what it's called, but
But Alien 3, I remember that game for Sega Genesis, and the different version of that movie game for SNES was different. I remember both of those being pretty good. Alien 3 for Genesis and
too bad the movie, at least that cut of the movie wasn't that great.
You gotta watch the other cut.
Remember, I saw the other cut, and I remember I saw him, and I told you about him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. But Batman Forever. Let's get to some dog shit. Hey, what's popular out there? Mortal Kombat digitized characters. Okay. All right, Batman Forever movie's out. All right, let's make a game. Let's just copy Mortal Kombat. Even the move set and control, fuck it. But it's not a fighting game. It's an action platform. Fuck it.
It plays like Mortal Kombat.
What's really neat is that it's okay. This game is terrible. I played it on the Genesis, which might be the better version. It sucked. 6-button controller doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of neat that they tried to do platforming and Mortal Kombat style fight scenes. 2 years before Mortal Kombat Mythologies tried to do the same thing. So I'm kind of it's really interesting. Like they could have gone the Batman Returns route, just done a regular traditional brawler, or the Batman Forever arcade game, which is the same thing. And they decided to do something that we're going to use digitized actors. We're going to have it control a bit like a fighting game. And I'm going to give them points for trying.
Okay.
It's an interesting failure. It's an ambitious failure. So I'll give them that much. But yeah, like Batman Returns for the SNES, it literally it did everything it set out to do, and it did it well.
Yeah.
Batman Forever tried to do some really cool stuff, and it did all of it badly.
Right.
There's one thing good about the Batman Forever movie.
Okay.
So you ready for this? Kiss by a Rose. Seal. They play that everywhere. That's a good song. I remember Tommy Lee in that movie was so over the top, man. It's like, man, I just not feeling this. I think if they went with the original script for Batman Forever, maybe it would have been better. What do you guys think? Like the Michael Keaton version where they had there's like a post Marlon Wayans as Robin. I think that's still kind of weird, but maybe it would have been better.
Williams as Two-Face.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. He actually really wanted to play that role. And I was like, nah, man.
You know, Marlon Wayans got paid to not
still gets paid.
Batman Forever. Yeah, he got paid. He had a pay or play deal. So when they decided to cast Chris O'Donnell instead of him, he still got paid. So he still made money on the movie.
I did not know that. You know, there's been a rumor, well, not a rumor, but they're trying to build hype, kind of like the Snyder cut of Justice League, of the Schumacher cut. I think it's called the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever, but some kind of cut where there's deleted scenes where the movie's actually a little bit darker that didn't make the final movie.
Yeah, I saw some of the deleted scenes. They have them on YouTube. Yeah,
people
those scenes definitely made the movie better.
Yeah, they want, fans want that version out, like remastered, so people could see it. I would watch it for sure. Yeah,
Kevin Smith saw it. He said, from the sounds of it, the whole movie is very different. Like, it's very rearranged. Like, it doesn't start with the Batman suiting up. It actually starts with him meeting Edward Nygma at Wayne
Arkham,
Town.
Right? Was it Arkham?
No, not Arkham.
Okay.
He goes into because he's still an employee.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Like, it's way darker. A lot of the dialogue is less over the top.
Right. Caffeine will kill you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would watch it for sure. I would definitely
watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, Batman Forever, I remember the graphics. I was like, whoa, this looks cool. But then I started playing it and I was like, oh, you know what? The music was terrible.
And they made it for the Game Boy, and it's the same game.
The music was
it looked bad on the SNES, and it's on the Game Boy and the Game Gear.
Yeah, the music I remember for the Genesis version was bad. Now, speaking of Batman, the Batman Returns game for Genesis wasn't that good. It was really average and ugly. The SNES one was way better. However, Batman Returns for Sega CD was legit. It still came with the bad Genesis game, but the Batmobile scenes were amazing, bro. The graphics is like, dude, Sega CD should have been making tons of games like this. It would have destroyed Super Nintendo. It would have destroyed all its competition. But again, it wasn't used to its potential, like Reggie said. But the Batmobile racing and there's a Batwing one at the end too. No, the boat at the end.
Did either of you guys ever play Batman and Robin for the PS1?
Oh, that's hard to find, isn't it?
Probably.
That's rare. I did play.
I thought it was Super Nintendo.
Oh no, it's
based off the arcade game.
It was 97 and Batman and Robin.
It's insane.
Based on the George Clooney one.
Yeah.
It's
that one. Okay, I'm thinking it's a cartoon.
Open world superhero game.
It's insane.
And they tried it, and you basically are like going around the city. You can either walk or you can get into a vehicle, and you're trying to stop all these bad things from happening. On the PlayStation 1, you want to guess why it didn't work?
Yeah, the graphics were like,
did it start us down the road to getting Arkham Asylum? Who knows? But it's still like it's incredibly ambitious, and for a minute, everyone's like, "This might be the first video game movie that's better than the movie it's based on." And
I need to pick that one up.
Didn't have a high bar to clear, and somehow didn't clear it.
I think I'm thinking of the arcade beat 'em up, and that had a PS1 one. That one, that's the one I'm thinking about. That one was like really ugly in terms of like graphics, but they tried. That's rare.
Crazy.
That was the Forever one I think you're talking about. So going back to Batman Returns on Sega CD, what was cool about that version was it had a fantastic soundtrack.
Yes,
I remember the epic intro scene where it would show the girl falling from the Christmas tree, and Batman trying to rescue her, and then he gets there too late, and then it goes to the title screen. But you can actually play that game in two ways. You could play it like the driving mode only, or you can play the side scrolling, or you can play them both together. Obviously, better to go with the driving, to me at least. And I remember, I'll never forget when I first saw that game, and it shows the Batmobile coming towards the screen, and then when you get close to it, you get inside, and it shows Batman like steering the steering wheel. I'll never forget how epic that scene looked. and you can tell it's definitely Michael Keaton, man. Even though it's just like that's just my Batman. But definitely the game had a great soundtrack, and
got the statue right here. Got some Keats right there, bro. But yeah, music was great for sure. But yeah, we got some bonus ones here, some picks from me, and then we'll wrap it up for today. This is a blast. But I remember enjoying Dick Tracy for Sega Genesis. Did you play that one, Reggie?
Not the Genesis version, played the NES version.
How was that one?
Difficult.
Yeah, it wasn't very easy at all. And I was a kid back then because we needed something a little bit more just balanced, I would say.
Right.
It wasn't on the level of like Roger Rabbit hard and nothing like that, but it was just I don't know. It just
But the one for Genesis was cool. It was like Cabal, like you just
just like Tommy gun shooting guys, right?
That's the way it should have been on NES.
Yeah, that was dope. That was a good one. Rambo 3 for Sega Genesis. I used to play that a lot. That was fun. You have the bow and arrow sequences. You taking out the helicopter. The on foot missions were generic, but it was still fun. It was still solid.
Did it have that stick fight scene like in the movie in the beginning?
No, it should have. It should have.
Epic, man. I love that scene so much.
Oh yeah.
And that was the movie where he actually pushed out the bullet and used gunpowder to heal himself.
Well, I'm just picturing like, hey, let's put that on like the 3DS, and the pulling out the bullet is like a touch screen. You have to use a touch screen to pull the bullet out.
Oh man, but yeah, I remember Rambo 3 being solid. Ghostbusters for Sega Genesis. It had these really like chibi looking characters, like cartoony, but I remember it being fun. You could go against State.
Didn't they mod that game to put Winston back into it? Because they didn't have Winston in the original version.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, you can play Winston now, which is great. Which is how it should have been. But yeah, Ghostbusters was fun. Now I don't remember these two games being amazing, but I remember them being solid action platformers. You have Judge Dredd and Demolition Man. Have you guys played those?
Judge Dredd, I played the PlayStation version, which is like a first-person shooter, a gallery shooter, I would say. It's fun. Okay. PS2 one's more like a first-person game, so those games are pretty solid. I don't know if it came out on Super Nintendo. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it was Genesis and SNES.
Never played those versions.
Yeah,
I remember it being really hard.
Yeah. But I remember not hating them. You can even arrest people. You don't have to. You could blow them away. I am the lure. You could blow them away.
I remember
or
like
you can arrest them.
Taco Bell ad they had when those games and that movie came out.
Because they were eating Taco Bell in the movie. Like every restaurant was Taco Bell in the movie for
Three seashells. That was gross. No toilet paper in the future. Like, oh, really?
like Last Action Hero, it was ahead of its time because it was making fun of that era of action movies, but it did it just a little too early.
Yeah, it broke the fourth wall, I believe, in the movie. Yeah. Right? Like it did all that stuff.
It made fun of Arnold in a way. Arnold poked fun at himself.
Oh yeah.
I was always jealous of Demolition Man for 3DO because the graphics looked really cool, and it had these really cool cinemas from the movie. They created scenes with Stallone and them created scenes for that game, but I don't know if that game was any good. I mean, you guys played
3DO, so
3DO. Yeah. But I remember seeing a cutscene of when you die all the time, and Stallone in character is on screen. He goes, "You suck." He's like, "Stop playing the game." Like he's talking shit to you. So I was always curious about that. If anybody watching right now, please let us know if you've actually played Demolition Man for 3DO and if it was any good. Ghostbusters, the video game for PS3, enhanced for PS4. Everyone considers that the real sequel, the real true sequel. And that game is amazing. Amazing game.
It's the least disappointing Ghostbusters thing possibly since the first movie. I like the sequel. Don't get me wrong. I like the sequel.
Sequel's fun.
Yeah, the game kind of.
Yeah,
I think the game captured something, and after everything that came after that was like either too different or it was too reverent. When in fact it's just a movie about a three kind of scumbags starting a very out there business.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, I know a lot of people love the newer movies, but it's just there's a limit to the member berries. There's a limit to the member berries, man. Like I enjoyed the ending to Afterlife. I haven't seen Frozen Empire or whatever the new fucking movie's called.
Is it out?
Yeah, it came out earlier this year. I have no interest to watch it.
It did not do well.
Yeah, I have no interest to watch it. But the ending to the first film was the best part. And if you guys seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But my wife, man, she's just like, fuck this movie. Like, she liked the ending. She liked it. I loved it just because of what they do. But do I love the movie? No. But the ending I enjoyed. But there's so much member berries. It's like, dude, come on, man. Like, there's a scene where they get in the vehicle, the Ghostbusters vehicle, and they open up the glove compartment, and a Twinkie flies out. When that happens, my wife turned to me and goes, fuck this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Remember he ate Twinkies? That was a big Twinkie. Do you remember?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's all member berries all the time.
That, dude, when you do too much, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's my rant. All right. Indiana Jones, I think it was The Greatest Adventures or something like that for Super Nintendo. Reggie, you played that one?
I didn't. No, I didn't play that one at all.
It's like Super Star Wars, but Indiana Jones.
Oh,
it was brutally hard.
Oh, no.
But very good looking game.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that was a good game. Back to look at this. Look how we're returning once again to Sega CD. Terminator for Sega CD is great, man.
Yeah, it
Reggie,
is. Good soundtrack by Tommy Tellerico.
Dude,
that one was fun.
I still have the soundtrack on CD somewhere.
Really?
Yeah, like a bootleg, like somebody.
Yeah, it's cool. Like playing as Reese. You get to play as Reese finally in the game, so that was cool.
The graphics are great because I remember Terminator for Sega Genesis was average, wasn't great. So the graphics, the whole thing is totally different from Sega CD. They didn't do what they usually do, throw the Genesis game on there with enhanced sound and cinemas, for the Sega CD game. Like this is a brand new game engine for Sega CD. And it did have some full motion video cutscenes in there, but they're bad because it's pixelated. But the game and the music's legit, dude. Yeah, it's a legit, really good game, man. You're making me miss my Sega CD. I should have kept it. And my dad always told me, and I never listened to him. He goes, son, always keep your toys, keep your comic books. When I would sell different video game consoles over the years, and when they get older and get tired, and I want the newest thing, son, keep your old. He would always tell me that because now look, I'm nostalgic. I'm nostalgic for all that stuff. I wish.
And now it's all really worth a lot of money too.
Right. Yeah, back to Scarface you mentioned earlier. I never played this. I never played this, James.
So Scarface is really cool because you basically play the ending scene of the movie, but you actually survive the attack.
What? Get out.
Yeah, you survive the attack and everything like that. So it's really he's rebuilding his empire and starting over and everything. So
dude,
it's not
it's
a cool
awesome.
game. It's not the voice that Al Pacino didn't come back to do the voice because his voice has changed so much. So he picked out a guy to help do the voice actor for his character. But it's a very like underrated game, I would say. A lot of people don't even know it exists, but it's good, man. I like it.
It's like Vice City, really, except instead of taking inspiration from Scarface, it is Scarface.
Nice.
That's good. I played it from the Wii of all systems.
I mean, I gotta admit, I hate the ending of the movie because I felt like that wouldn't happen to him if he wasn't like on drugs. But or maybe I don't know. That whole thing, maybe the drugs helped him survive longer. If you think about it,
I think that's what happened. Yeah,
that's what's happened. But I hated that guy got the drop on him, man. Never. Oh, I wanted him to get that guy. But the game is pretty cool. Yeah.
And of course, I love that movie. By the way, but
the world is yours.
That's right. Oh, speaking of, check this out. Oh, I don't want to fuck anything up. Hold on. Oh, don't. Oh, I'm fucking it up. Speaking of, I have the 4K here, and this was it came with there we go. Comes with the world is your statue.
That's tight.
4K. Yeah, I have not opened this yet. It still hasn't been.
Don't. That is a collector's item.
Yeah, definitely. That Scarface music just came to my head now. Like when I saw that
I know. Song. Yeah, push it to the limit. It's a classic '80s montage song right there. But people don't realize this. This is kind of a remake.
Really?
I don't know if you guys knew that. Yeah, this actually comes with the original Scarface. Came out black. It was like an old black and white film from I think what 40s.
How'd you like that one?
I enjoyed it. I mean, the remake's way better, or reboot, whatever you want to call it. It's way better.
Before its time, though. Yeah,
it's entertaining. Yeah, but there's that kind of like that triangle between his best friend and his sister. That's in there.
Wow.
The guy playing Scarface was having fun. He's I think he's a white guy. He's not from Cuba or anything like that. but no, it's fun for its time for sure. Okay. All right, Spider-Man 2 for PS2.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of changed the game, didn't it? For movie licensing.
It did. It was the first free roam superhero game. At least I think it was. I mean, you were swinging around those cities, man, and the city, and it was looking pretty good. I remember how much fun I had playing it. It was definitely just the open worlds for that game really helped kind of make people look at the series more than past the movies, I would say, if that makes any sense. The first one came out and it was very level based, and you were swinging off of nothing. Like the web was like just go straight to the air, and you didn't know what you were swinging on. But in Spider-Man 2, you can see where the web is going and how you're swinging around the buildings. So I still think that game has the best web swinging out of all the Spider-Man games to this day. And even got the voice actors to come and do the game as well. Really cool. I'll never forget the Statue of Liberty boss fight, which I hated because your swinging skills came to use there. So you have to be very careful, which was great.
Right.
But yeah, it expanded the story of the movie, which was nice. So definitely a good game. See, you guys are making me want to go back and play these games again.
Right?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, going down memory lane, this is a blast.
The fact that like the webs, the physics of it, like the webs had to attach to something that existed.
Mm-hmm.
And then really it kind of set the momentum of like how you swung. You could also like run up the side of a building at certain points. Like if you were like building enough speed, you just kind of like run along it. It was, I don't know how they got the PS2 to do that.
Yeah.
Because it was a powerful system, but it had limitations. And the fact they were able to make that happen in what, 2004?
2004, yep.
No, I guess it was. Yeah, I guess it was kind of coming toward like that sweet spot in the console's life where everyone knows.
They know how to use the hardware and take advantage of certain little like perks they have or whatever like that. So
yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, I remember that was good shit, man. Now we got some stinkers, a couple of stinkers here, and then we're gonna lead up to two great ones that I'm hearing are great, and I'm sure Reggie's already played these. So we'll end the podcast episode with that. But we got some bad ones here. Time Cop for Super Nintendo was terrible.
So bad.
You felt like you were on ice, like you're trying to move your character around. It's like, what is going on, dude?
What's really weird is it's obviously based on the movie, but the box art is from the comic book. Explain that, because
yeah, it's really bad. Like I just was like, what the fuck? I think I only played it for like 10 minutes and I turned it off. I was like, this is horrible. Now I'm nostalgic for this game, but I don't remember it being good. Karate Kid for Nintendo Entertainment.
That game is very difficult, man. It is, and I remember the mini game with the chopsticks. You had to get the fly. It was so annoying.
Or dodging the blade. Like
that was too. That's right.
To do this,
it wasn't even like programmed properly. Horrible, man. Like really another Rush game. Like
really bad. Now this one, it's a guilty pleasure of mine, but it's trash. Dragon the Bruce Lee story. For Sega Genesis.
Not a half bad fighting game.
Yeah, it's like a fighter, but what makes it worth playing, and I could not stop loving it every time it happened, was you could do the Bruce Lee stomp finisher on people and crush their chests like an End of the Dragon. Not in slow motion. It's like regular speed. But but he does that, and then he does the twist from Into the Dragon. I just loved it. I never got old playing Dragon the Bruce Lee story, but it followed the movie for the most part.
So you had to fight those armor guys in the game too? Like he had like
the dude who looks like Shredder?
Yeah,
you fight him. Yeah.
There's a part where you have to fight two people at once. So I'd never seen that in a fighting game before, where it's sailors, like two against one.
the sailors at the party at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or those douchebags, whatever they were. I forgot. It's been a while since I watched the movie. But yeah, it's like I played it, I enjoyed it, but I was just like, yeah, this is not good. This is not good. But it's probably 1,000 times better than the Bruce Lee game for Xbox, which I heard was trash. Yeah, I don't know if you guys knew that that game even existed, but yeah,
I don't even
Bruce Lee
remember.
game.
I didn't remember that until you said something.
It's bad. Like really bad. So those are some stinkers. One more stinker, but it's just perfect setup for 2 great games. I'm hearing nothing but amazing things about it because I believe, I might be wrong, Reggie can correct me, it's the same company. But Rambo the video game for PS3, which you cannot find. It's gone. It's delisted. And what sucks is it's like so bad it's good game.
Yeah,
like, I see reviews on it, and what hurts me to this day is I had the game in my fucking hand.
You
I was
serious?
in GameStop, and I was like, "Ooh, Rambo the video game," and I didn't know it was going to
You could have
disappear.
been set for life.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to disappear. I was like, "Oh man, this is hilarious! I have to buy this for cheap as fuck one day," and I put it back on the shelf and got something else. And now you can't find it. But this, oh my god, it is like it follows the movie.
It does. The guy doesn't really look like Sylvester Stallone, but you can tell they tried to make it. It makes it look hilarious that they're trying to look like him, but they can't at the same time.
And it's so bad that they were so lazy. Instead of recreating the audio from scratch for the cinemas, the in-game cinemas, they literally it felt like they played the VHS version of the movie, and he used that audio
voices
and attached that to the cinema in-game cinemas. It's so bad, dude, but it's hilarious.
And it doesn't even sound right though. They could have used a better version of it. They used like you said, a VHS tape of it.
It's so bad. You could just totally tell. Just turn the movie on, turn it up. All right, record that.
So here's the secret about that game. A lot of people don't know. They actually made some DLC for it. And
oh really?
The DLC, I believe it came out 2 years later for some weird reason. Because nobody was playing, but it came out 2 years later. Here's the thing. It was free on PC, but it cost $10 on the PS3. But there was a problem with it. The DLC didn't work with the physical copy of the game. It only worked to get a digital version of it. So a lot of people like myself bought the DLC, but we couldn't play it on the physical version. And
what was the DLC?
It was a prequel called Baker Team, like Rambo while he was with his buddies. So they made their own little story. Yeah, it was free. It's awesome. I mean, awesome-ish, I would say, because it's a bad game. But it just kind of killed all steam for me that I couldn't play it because I paid for it, but then it wasn't compatible, and then they had no way to fix it. So developer is still around. They were able to make more successful games than Rambo, thankfully, but Rambo was definitely a stinker.
Which we're going to get to right now, if it's the same company. Now, this is the same company that did Terminator Resistance, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. James, have you played this? I've heard nothing but great things about Terminator Resistance.
I have not.
Oh, wow.
It's like perfect.
You got to play it. You got to play it. You're going to love it if you like Terminator.
It's actually good?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like really good, man. Like it's in the future. You're behind enemy lines. You're with the Resistance in the future.
But the interesting part they couldn't afford to have in the movies because it's just too big and expensive.
Yeah. But they pulled it off. And if you get it now, James, you can get the upscaled version for, I think, PS5. Because it was a PS4 game, but they enhanced the graphics for the PS5.
Okay.
And it's actually a free download. I didn't know that because I bought it on PS4.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of browsing PlayStation Store, and they had an upgrade for free to enhance the game's graphics. So
it comes with, if you get it on PS5, it comes with one of the DLC packs where you play as the Terminator and going through their story.
No way.
That's on the PS5 version. Yeah.
What?
See, this is people who they get the license. They know how to make the most of it.
You know how to make it, yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. But I think it's the same company that has done the critically acclaimed, everyone loves it. It kind of came out of nowhere. RoboCop Rogue City.
Yep.
That's insane, dude. So they really improved. Going from Rambo, he's not a man, he's a god. Every time the villains shoot you and you don't die, he's not a man, he's a god. They just keep repeating that over and over again, which is hilarious and annoying.
Do you get an achievement for shooting everybody in the dick?
Wow.
Is that an achievement? Because if it's not, it should be.
Yeah.
It's cool that Rambo is an open world game because there was a sequence in the game where you find this kid. He's like putting graffiti on the wall.
Yeah.
And you have a choice whether you want to arrest him or let him go. And I let him go. And then when you come back there the next day around that area, there will be a mural of RoboCop on the wall, which is freaking cool. So I like little like things like that in the game. Yeah. It feels like an open, active world, like it's alive, actually. So it's really a good game that I think a lot of people will love when they play it. I was waiting for it to get discounted. It's dropped to $34, so I'll probably pick it up now. But yeah.
I just recently bought it, and I haven't popped it in yet, but I'm getting the itchy trigger finger for gaming, man. Go ahead.
It takes place before RoboCop 3, thankfully. So I think it takes place between 1 and 2.
3 DLC.
It's between 1 and 2.
I believe so, or between 2 and 3. I don't think it's between 2 and 3. I think it's between 1 and 2. So yeah.
Okay.
There
was a third movie.
Unfortunately, there was never a third movie. It never happened. And there were no TV series based on it either.
No, not 2 of them either.
Definitely would never be 2. Why would we make 2 when there wasn't even 1? I find it like one of the best ways to make these kinds of movie-based games is to make them like long after the movies. Like GoldenEye, the game came out 2 years after the movie. The RoboCop. When's the last time we got a proper RoboCop movie that wasn't a remake? Same thing with a Terminator movie. Like we got Dark Fate, but it wasn't meant to coincide with it. Or even like The Warriors was. How many decades after the Warriors came out that we got the game? Like what, 20 some odd years? I think there's lots of movies that didn't get games that really would make great games. And we now have the tech and we have the tools to make it happen in an awesome way. Yeah. So before we go, I really want to ask, what action movie that didn't get a video game would you like to see have a video game now?
Yeah. Let us know in the comments for sure. Yeah. Like we need to do this for definitely, because there's like you said, there's so many. I've been wanting. I know there was one in, I don't know if it was Spectrum or whatever the fuck, Amiga, whatever the fuck it was called in the 80s. But I want a badass beat 'em up in the vein of like Shredder's Revenge or something like that, with Big Trouble in Little China characters. I've been wanting a Big Trouble in Little China game forever. You could play as the 3. You could play as Egg Shen, Burton, or Wang. There's your 3 characters.
Yeah, right.
Like, dude, this is like epic, bro. You get the 3 storms are the bosses. You fight Lo Pan at the end. How has this not happened?
Can we bring in John Carpenter to do the soundtrack for this game? He's a gamer. He is a hardcore gamer.
Yes, we need to do this.
That'd be good. I'd play that.
Here's the one. I would have them make Highlander a video game. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Dude. What kind of game would it be? Would it fighting?
What kind of game would it be?
Fighting?
I think it would be more of an open world game or whatever like that.
Okay. Action adventure.
Open world. So you go where you want. To handle certain events, because that game's story, the lore is deep. So I don't want it to be just a simple beat 'em up where it just goes through like the game.
Right.
Kind of like in a way like a Terminator Resistance is kind of open. Well, not semi-open world, I would say, but yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That'd be dope too, because you can randomly just run into other immortals. And you get the sense, you get that tingling, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
The quickening.
There could be only one. Hey, Clancy Brown, have him come back and voice Kurgan, son.
Dude, I'll never forget that scene in the church, man. Better to burn out than to fade away, or something like that.
Yeah. So good. Kurgan is like epic.
Yeah.
Epic. Another amazing movie. Ooh, good luck on the reboot. If they're still doing that, we'll see what happens on that.
How many times how many different directors and actors have been attached to Highlander remake?
Yeah.
Maybe it's best just to let it go.
Like Blade. Let Blade go. Let it go.
It's because Blade is what kicked off the Marvel universe.
Yeah, Blade is still the shit. Speaking of Blade, wasn't there a PS1 game?
Yeah.
There was a PS1 game, Game Boy Color.
Good? Yep, Game Boy Color, PS2.
Were they good?
The Game Boy Color one is pretty good. I actually talked about it in a recent video. The PS1,
little funky.
It's mediocre, I would say. and then part 2 on the PS2. That one's mediocre as well. But I mean, if you're a fan of the series, you could probably find a way to like some stuff about them. But the Game Boy Color one is the more solid one, I think.
Right. So there you go.
It's always funny how that works out.
Yeah. Right. Weird.
Like the best version of Daikatana is on the Game Boy Color. Why? I don't know.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China for me, Highlander for Reggie. James, do you have one? A movie you want to see a game
for whatever reason, I just would like to see a battle royale game based on the movie Mean Guns.
Dude, you can trust anybody.
Dude,
okay.
I just watched that on Blu-ray. I had some fun revisiting Mean Guns.
Like Mambo soundtrack.
Yeah.
I still love the scene. My favorite, like the most iconic thing from it is the very beginning. They dump the guns.
Yeah.
Which are all empty, and then they dump the bullets and then another bin full of steel baseball bats. And it's like, do you go for the bullets and reload your gun, or do you go for the bat and take out the people trying to reload their guns? And like, how would you make that? That would be like, screw Fortnite and your stupid bus. That's how a battle royale match should start. It should be a total bloodbath from the get-go, and then whoever might happen to be like the 15 or so people who happen to be left are in this crazy tense standoff.
I am sold. Mean Guns, the video game. Let's fucking go. All three of us came up with great ones right here. We're all good, all great ones. But yeah, there's so many. So let us know in the comments below. Of course, there are probably hundreds of thousands of movie licensed action movie video games that we did not cover. So let us know, because there's too many. So let us know in the comments which ones we have missed. Some movie licensed action games that, were good, great, or bad. Let us know in the comments. And don't forget, play it now, baby. Support independent filmmaking. Let's go. Support independent video game making. Let's do this. So play it now. Make sure you tip my man James. Tell him Samurai Guy sent you. Don't forget to follow the radical one up here, baby. He knows his video games. That's right. He is a professional video gamer and collector and YouTuber. Yeah, make sure you subscribe. Most likely, you're probably already subscribed to this guy. But hey, if you had fun here on the podcast and on the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the old Samurai Guy. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Keep watching action movies. Keep watching martial arts movies. Keep playing awesome video games. And we see you on the next one. Oh, really quickly, should we do another one about actual action movie stars that were in video games? Not based off of movies, but like, for example, Bruce Willis's Apocalypse that came out for PS1. That might be an upcoming episode. We'll see. Yeah, Jet Li had a game. There's all kinds of stuff out there. Oh, shit. That just reminded me. I forgot the GOAT. Awesome video game. John Woo's Chow Yun Fat Stranglehold, baby.
Oh, yeah. The sequel to Hard Boiled.
How did I not forget?
We just devote a whole episode to that one, because that game and that movie are amazing.
Dude. And
online.
Yeah, it's an official sequel to Hard Boiled.
Yeah, and it comes with the movie if you get the special edition, too.
Yeah. How did I not mention that?
What's crazy, real fast about that game, though, when it was online, you would find people like doing all the stunts, like going on the rails, like Max Payne type. It was so crazy seeing it online for that game back in the day. It's great.
And the cool spin around John Woo Chow Yun Fat maneuver that kind of clears the screen, but you have the John Woo doves floating in the background when that happens. Fucking Stranglehold. I feel that flew under everyone's radar for some reason. That should have been a hit. That should have been a smash. But hey, you guys can track it down and play it now. But yeah, thanks again for watching. Keep gaming. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.